Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
And welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. We are up to 10.4 million viewers and listeners in 24 countries in 217 cities around the world. I'm actually about to let Dominic on here, who's back for round two. Let's see what Dom is talking about today. Let's see here. Whoops. I messed up a little bit. All right, I think I got that going right. Dom should be coming on here any second now. Let's see here. Dom, your sound and picture are off. That's okay. While we wait for a few minutes for Dominic to pop on here.
All right, hold up.
There we go.
There you are, buddy.
Hey, Dominic, what is going on?
What's
brother? Welcome back.
up, brother?
How you doing?
How are you?
Good.
I'm
man.
doing great, man. Today's been a great day.
Tell
I
us
got
about
3 workouts in, so I'm feeling good.
3 workouts.
Yeah, I do. So what I do on a daily basis is I try to do some strength training, about 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I do a 30-minute walk, and then I do an hour of yoga.
Okay. That's what I want to touch on. I heard you say that. You do yoga, man. Tell me about this. You're like the Bo Jackson.
Dude, it has helped strengthen my back, give me more flexibility, helps loosen me up. You know, it's a great bodily exercise and helps get you connected to your breath and your mind and like your whole body. So like honestly, that's why your body functions off of your breathing. So taking deep breaths to calm your nerves and relax. It's really helped me a lot over the last, 6 to 7 months for sure.
Okay.
If not, yeah.
Do you actually go to a class or you just do it on your own?
No, I go to a yoga studio.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do, to be honest with you.
Really? I've never I don't think I've ever dabbled in yoga or even tried it, but everybody that I've heard or spoken to speaks high up and down about it.
Dude, I highly recommend it, dude. If you have any kind of, joint pains, lower back issues, tightness in your legs, your groins, anything like that, it just helps you get that flexibility. It also helps build some strength. People, I used to knock it, but I've been doing it for, 7 years, maybe a little bit more on and off, but I really picked it up a lot in like September, October. Like I really went full throttle with it. And it's just, I took a deep dive into it and I really like it. Like I've read a couple books on it too. And, I want to become an instructor eventually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of my goals for sure.
Okay. Well, there's,
and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Like
let's
also
do it.
I wanted to talk about entering the military, like what that process is like, because I was a recruiter for 5 years and, I recruited everything from high schools all the way to, college level with ROTC programs and what it takes. And then I wanted to touch on a little bit of the retirement process because a lot of people, they know how it is and like, what's my next steps? What's this? Sometimes you're left out in the dark and, you don't know what to do. And that's kind of where I was, but I'm trying to find my footing. And it's been a year and a half since I retired. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
All right. Well, Dom, let's start with going in first because let's start at the beginning for everybody first before we get to the
right.
End. Yeah, let's go with the beginning of
absolutely. I briefly touched on it in the last podcast that you and I did about why I would probably do the National Guard over active Army if I was coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And I told you about my one of my cousins. I helped her along the process. She's so thankful, and she was like, "You gave me a shout out on the podcast." She was so pumped about it. So like what I told her, and this is still true today. The reason I would do the National Guard over the active component first, if I wanted to go to college first, like if I was like, hey, I'm going to go to college, but I want to do the military, but I want to go active duty to get my college benefits, because that's the mind frame that students, hold. Like, hey, I want, like, I can't afford college.
Yeah.
And what can I do to go to the next level? Like whether it's, I don't care what branch it is,
Yeah.
whether it's Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, whatever branch you decide to go into, there is all different kinds of components. And this is why I would pick the National Guard over the reserves as well. And a lot of people don't know this. And this is, I didn't know this either. And this
Okay.
is great. I'm glad we're doing the podcast because it's going to be very educational for a lot of
Yeah.
people. Um, some things to think about when you're joining the Army. When you get out of the Army, you maybe signed up and got a bonus, or you, instead of electing for a bonus, you got $50,000 for future college loans or whatever. There's so many different kinds of contracts out there. It's hard to explain them all, and it changes. Like sometimes monthly, sometimes yearly, and I've been out of it for over 18 months now, so I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But here's why I would join the National Guard over active Army. When you join the Army National Guard, you are open, like you go to your basic training, do your basic training, go to your job training, get all that out of the way. And that, like whatever job you pick, I'm just going to say field artillery because that's what I started as.
Yeah.
It's basic training's 9 weeks, depending on, give or plus or minus a couple days here or there, maybe. And then you have your job training. Well, artillery is like 5 weeks total. So it's
Okay.
very short and it's quick and to the point. But if you want to do something with more you sharpness of your mind, like maybe military intelligence or communications or something like that, it's obviously going to be, 20 weeks of additional training or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I tell students that are coming out of high school, or they're rising seniors, so they're juniors.
Yeah.
I tell them, I'm like, if I was you and you're 17 years old right now, if you have nothing, if you're not in sports, if you're not playing football, if you have nothing going on this summer, why not go to basic training and get paid?
Ooh, interesting.
Because when you're 17 years old and as a junior in high school, you go to basic training, you come back, and then you do your senior year, you now have money for prom, Christmas dance, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and you're getting paid for 1 week in a month while you're doing the National Guard every, whatever. And they'll excuse you as long as you have a valid excuse. Say you have a football game on a Saturday or something, or
Yeah.
cheerleading, whatever. They'll excuse people like that, or if you're in the band, whatever it might be. So I would join the National Guard. And again, because now you're going in your senior year, you got some money in your pocket. It's
Yeah.
an easy job, you know what I mean? For doing once a month, you're getting a couple
Yeah.
$100, and then you're paying taxes, you're putting towards your retirement, a 401k as a junior in high
Yeah.
school.
In high school.
You graduate as a senior in high school, you go do whatever training you might do. We'll say it's that 20-week training for intelligence or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You're gone for those 20 weeks. Come back. Some of those are college level classes
Yeah.
for
Ooh.
basic training and for your job training. So you might be able to get out of like if you need like physical education or whatever, all those crappy
Elective
elective
classes.
type classes that you might
Yeah.
need. This might help you with that. So now you could start so you're gonna miss. You'll obviously miss like your freshman year, but you can make a catch up. And I always tell people, if you're gonna go to college and you know you're not gonna be like a professional athlete or something
Yeah.
like that, why not hammer down at it? That's what I did, and I was full-time, military, trying to get my degree at the same time.
Yeah.
But so now you're going into school. But when you're in school, uh, this is the key reason why I would do the National Guard. You
Yeah.
have your federal benefits, which is called federal tuition assistance,
Okay.
right? And this is where it changes. You can also use your GI Bill with your federal tuition assistance and while you're actively serving in the National Guard, getting your degree.
Yeah.
Here's the big thing. So you belong as a National Guard member, you still belong to the active component in some capacity. So if a deployment happens, you can
You
get
go.
deployed to wherever there's an assignment.
Yeah.
So that's where you get that federal money, but you also belong to the state. So if there's a riot like they had in Charlottesville, whatever, they can call up the National Guard to be on standby for however long. But that's where the state benefits come into play for education as well. You get state tuition assistance, and every state varies.
Yeah.
Like Pennsylvania, they pay for any state school. So if a state school costs, say, $8,000 a year, they give that student $8,000 in state tuition assistance. So that
Oh,
means
nice.
So that means your federal tuition assistance and your GI Bill goes right to your pocket.
Yeah.
You could use it to and this is what my cousin is doing. She's taking all that money and put it into a savings account.
Smart.
So I said you should be able to walk out of college with like $20,000 to $40,000 and be able to go buy a house.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Also,
You know what I
question for you
mean?
too.
Like wherever she decides to get a job, she could be like, I don't want to rent. I want to buy a house. I have
Yeah.
50, $60,000 or whatever I have, whatever she might have saved up, and then I'll go buy a house.
Okay. Dang. Quick question for you. Instead
Yeah.
of savings, why not put that in an IRA, make more money off of it?
Well, so she can, or she could put it in a high yield savings account or whatever. And if she got a bonus, like I wasn't going to dive that far into her. I was going to let her
Okay.
parents handle some of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Don't worry
'cause
about it,
the
Dom.
Army,
I just had a question about that. You don't have to
no,
go.
it's a good question, and because the Army has what's called a 40, it's called thrift savings plan, and that's what they're now giving to all military members. It's not even an option, and the reason they're doing that is because they went away from the pension system.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that hurts me because
Yeah.
that's the reason I stayed for 20 some years because I was like I saw the finish line,
Yeah.
money, you know what I mean? And well, not just the money, obviously, because I saw like, well, I could get free healthcare, I could get this. There's
Yeah.
all benefits for when you retire. So nowadays, and most military members, when they come in, they stay their 6 years, 4 years, or whatever they do, and then they
Yeah.
leave and they have nothing. So
Yeah.
this was something that they could take their thrift savings plan and then they could roll it into whatever Fortune 500 company they're working for or whatever,
Yeah.
and they could roll it into their 401k. So their 401k can now be, have 15 grand or whatever it might be instead of zero starting a new job.
Yes, exactly.
That was their concept in doing that, and I respect that. And honestly, it's still good for military members because they could add a little bit to their, $50 a week or whatever it might be to their 401k,
Yeah.
and they match it. Like where my 401 where my thrift savings plan is not matched because I have a pension system,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So the whole retirement system has changed so much over the years in the last, 10 years, I'd say, when they
Okay.
came up with this stuff. So and that's stuff people need to be aware of when they're joining the military because they, recruiters will come up like, yeah, you can retire in 20 years and whatever. Like, I hate it when I hear somebody saying their recruiter lied because I don't lie. Why
Yeah.
would I lie? And the
Yeah.
reason
What's the point?
what's the point of lying when like I'm going to rely on John Smith over here to tell me, hey, go get me a couple recruits. I need like tell them how well I did for you and tell them I got everything that you wanted.
Yeah.
I helped you get along the way, and about the recruitment process, that's one of the most tedious things for a recruiter to do when he's actually in it.
Okay.
So be forthcoming with your recruiter because if you say, "Oh, I never had any speeding tickets and I'm healthy as a horse, I'm good to go."
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing now. Now, like back in the day, you could just say no health issues, and the Army never checked it. But now there's a national database that they look into, and they could look. Oh, well, you were at Columbia, New York's hospital in 2003 for a heart murmur.
Yeah.
So be honest with them and
Yeah.
tell them everything because if not, they're going to know. And like one of the biggest things I ever saw as a recruiter that tons of kids wanted to join, they're on ADHD medicine.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I guess you probably can't be on that, right?
Yeah, you can't be on it. You could still join as long as you haven't been taking it, as long as it's before the age of 14.
Okay.
And again, the regulations change as well. So as long as it was like they haven't taken it before the age of 14 or within the last 2 years. So you're like 24 and you like took it when you were like 20 when you were in college and you stopped. It has to be within 2 years. I think it's one of those two.
Okay.
But that also
Interesting.
changes. It might be a little clouded because I haven't read the regulations in like
Yeah.
over 2 years.
Man, that's actually
So
interesting
so
that you
so
said
that's
that.
like
But yeah.
yeah. So like
Keep
again,
on,
and like
Dominic.
be
You're good.
honest. Yeah, and be honest about like your traffic violations. Like if you have 17 speeding tickets, who cares? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Now, if they're 17 and 12 or in 3 months, that's going to be an issue. They're going to think you have psychological problems.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? If you have 17 over a course of 5 years, all right, that's bad, but it's not horrible. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You just got a lead foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm telling. Like people come in and they're like, "Well, I could pull your like police record." So
Yeah.
like,
You can put, I mean,
be
you're the
honest.
U.S. government.
Yeah, don't say, "Oh, I never had a DUI or never had drug charges," when I could pull it up and I could tell. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the other thing in the recruiter system. I could see if you've been recruiter hopping and like you got denied from this branch or this branch or this branch. So
Ooh.
just be honest. When you go into the recruiting office, I tell people, just tell me it straight. Tell me it straight. Tell me your story, but be honest with me, and I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, Dom, let me throw something else in there. What if you've been in trouble? How does that pay in everything? Let's say, I guess you guys don't allow felonies, but like, what if someone got, I don't know, trying to figure out something that someone would have got in trouble for, like a misdemeanor?
It depends on what it is and the levels, but there's waivers for medical stuff too. There's waivers for medical stuff and there's waivers for like legal violations. Like if you have a
Okay.
DUI, if you have one DUI, you'll be okay. If you have two, they won't let you in.
Gotcha.
Unless it's changed.
I'm,
Again, unless it's changed.
yeah. No, that's a good thing to have. I mean, that's a good thing to know because I just try to throw out little caveats or something that someone might not think about. But
Right, right. So and that's what I like. I thought it was very important. I wanted like we talked a lot last podcast, and it was really
yeah,
good, and it was really informational, but I never touched on like the the nuts and bolts, I guess, of the whole recruitment process. And it's a very rewarding job when you see that kid smile light up at the end of the day.
yeah,
He got everything he wanted, and he's happy, and then like they come up to you 3 years later. You're like, man, I'm doing great. I'm almost done with college, and
yeah,
right, I got 30 grand in my bank account or whatever it might be. I didn't have to work while I was in college. Like,
yeah.
that's a good feeling because they're
It
like,
is.
I like this guy. I could trust him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
And
that's
and,
definitely
and
important.
it's definitely important if you want to be a successful recruiter, even on the Army side. Like if you
Yeah,
join the military and you eventually want to be a recruiter, just be honest. Just be honest. What's the point of lying? There's
yeah,
no point to lying. And like, that's a lot of reserve recruiters, I'm not knocking them. They have a job to do, but they'll be
yeah,
like, "Oh, join us, we're better," blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Because they diss the National Guard. And the National Guard back in the day might have been like that, but we get the same training that they do. So
yeah,
there's no difference anymore. We're very neck and neck.
yeah.
So, and
And then
I'll
sorry.
give you an example. When we were in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
one of my well, I wasn't there for this, but it was my one of my supervisors. He was a National Guard platoon sergeant over there,
Yeah.
and he had a route clearance platoon. That means they're a bunch of 12 Bravos, combat engineers. He had the most success rate of finding IEDs in Afghanistan
Holy smokes.
to the point where he got called to DC to rewrite the manual on how to clear.
Wow.
And I might be off on some of the facts here, but
Yeah.
that's how precise they were, and that's how good they were. They
Dang.
cleared more mines than or IEDs or whatever than any other unit in Afghanistan up until that point. Think about that.
Jeez.
Think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
A
That's
1 week in a month kind of unit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? My boss, his name, I'm gonna give him a shout out. His name is Sergeant Todd Seary. He's retired. He retired as a master sergeant, and he's one of those dudes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't mess with that dude. And I don't know how many deployments he's had, probably like 10 or something. He was just one of those.
Holy smokes.
He lived for that stuff. That was his life. Loved it. Loved it.
Like
Yeah.
that is wild. But that means that says a couple of things here. I guess if you said his name's Master or the Master Sergeant, I'll just say that for now. For him to deploy that many times, that means that one, he was trusted, two, that he did his job well, and
Yeah.
reliable, trustworthy, and the people
Yeah.
that he had a rate of people like. Sorry, man, that's very impressive. But to
It
get to
was.
where
It
he
was.
was at and to do that, that means that because I know one thing I always hear about sergeants is that every lieutenant trusts their sergeant. Like a lot of them rely on their sergeant or whatever to get through. So for him to do 10 that's wild.
I don't know if it's 10 exactly, but he
But
did a
still,
lot.
yeah,
I know of at least four or five that he did.
that's
So
wild.
that's and
And he
that's
was
a lot,
he was a National Guard guy.
Yeah, well, he had a long career in the active component, and then he had some family stuff going on, and then he joined the National Guard, and he actually came in the National Guard as a recruiter, and then went from right from a recruiter, and he was my unit readiness NCO, and I worked underneath him and gaining my because that's another thing I said, I had all these jobs, like I was a combat engineer, I was this, I was that, but ultimately, while I was serving as an active guard reserve soldier in the National Guard, yes, I'm active duty, but I really never did 12 Bravo stuff unless we were in training. I
Yeah.
usually did my administrative stuff, like HR. I could, I'd be like, oh, I got to do a promotion packet, retirement packets, award packets. I got to do payroll, got to update people's records. Like that was my day-to-day basis, and that's what we did to maintain the unit to make sure everything ran smoothly.
Okay.
So we did the job of like, you have three people usually in a unit. You got your readiness NCO, your training NCO, and a supply sergeant. Well, the supply sergeant's doing the job of supply sergeant and an armor. Your
Yeah.
training NCO is doing the job of a training NCO and like an admin clerk, and then the readiness NCO is like doing the job of, the company commander, the first sergeant, and his administrative duties. So
Yeah. Oh, wow.
it's
Um,
a lot on your
yeah.
shoulders.
Dom, I had a question for you. How does it with recruitment and all that? How does it work with, let's say, a person's coming in like, hey, they want to do everything you just said about where they get stationed. Like, if they want to go, let's say, be stationed in Hawaii, for instance. Is that part of that process too, where you can say, hey, these are kind of
So when
areas
I
I would like?
Yeah, so when I went in active duty, and I first came in, and I gotta think here because, like, so they base everything off of your ASVAB score when you enter. Your ASVAB is like your SATs for college,
Yeah.
and the better you do on that determines if you get a bonus, if you get, where you want to pick your duty station, or if you want to go to if you can be in intelligence, some people might not score well enough, so they have to be infantry.
Yeah.
Um, but if say you score like a 65, which is pretty good because it goes from 0 to 99.
Okay.
Anything over 50 is you're gonna get a bonus. It just
Yeah.
determines how much you'll get, and because sometimes they base it like they'll be like, oh, well, you scored a 50, so you'll get 12 grand. Oh, you scored a 60, so you'll get 15 grand. You scored 80, so you're going to get the max of 20 grand for 4 years, or whatever the bonuses might
Yeah.
be. Because sometimes that's how they determine it. But you could also put a wish list in. Like I had a wish list.
Okay.
They're like we need 13 Bravo combat artillery MOS, and this is the two locations they told me. They're like Fort Hood, Texas, or you could go to Germany. I'm like, going to Germany,
Yeah.
buddy. Let's
Absolutely.
go. So it depends on what there's available. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
to say. It really depends on the needs of the army, and you would
Okay.
hear that a lot if you join. The needs of the army is where we'll put you.
Yeah. Man, I probably would have gone to Germany too. I've heard nothing but great things.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Loved it
Yeah.
there. I would go back tomorrow.
Absolutely. So
So
now that I want to make sure that you hit everything in the recruitment process, because I think you're hitting about how well you have to do your scores. You're hitting about kind of like where you said MOS, right?
yeah.
And then I'm trying to figure out is there anything else on our Dominic that you need to hit or want to hit on that? Something that could be important.
No, I think we got it all for sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, if I thought of anything else well throughout this, I'm sure I'll hit you up.
yeah, you're welcome on here anytime. What about going into studying for that? Or is it not something you can really even study for? It's just something you just go in and.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up actually. Because if you study for any type of SATs, if you study for an ACT, there is study guides for the ASVAB, and it's
Oh, good.
ASVAB is what I'm saying, ASVAB. And there's apps for it. You could download an app, and like I recommend you just gotta you like the two major subjects when you're taking the ASVAB to get a better score is your English and your math. If you're good at
Okay.
those, you should be fine. It's the same as the SATs. That's why I said it's really similar to that.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, nice, brother. Okay. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Now let's go to you've been in for X amount of years of retirement stuff because you've been out, you said now for 18 months. Is that right?
Yes, I have been. Yeah, January 24 is when I retired. So yeah, I've been out for quite a bit now. So.
Okay. Let's talk about that process,
Uh,
man.
so I'm trying to think. So I had a couple medical medical issues
Hmm.
that hindered me from, like, say, doing my run anymore. Like I can't run that much because I'll just tell you, I had lower back issues. I had an ankle surgery, and
Yeah.
just like you get to a certain age and your body just starts breaking down. So I presented all of that stuff, and I kept going to the doctor for everything, and they eventually started what's called a medical retirement packet. Um, and it's just like they submit all of the documentation, and I was missing a lot of work and stuff like that due to all those medical
Yeah.
appointments. I mean, I had surgeries on my shoulders, my ankle,
Yes.
carpal tunnel. I couldn't even I had so many surgeries. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So my thing is, I try to tell people, when you're in the military, they broke you. Don't be afraid to go and say, hey, this is what's wrong with me. Go to your
Yeah.
doctor appointments, especially if you know you're within the last 2 years of your contract or your military tour. Or like, hey, like this is it. Like I have 2 years to go till I'm eligible for retirement. That's really when you need to start working on it.
Yeah.
You don't like not anytime sooner, really. Within those last 2 years is because it takes that long if you're going to do a medical retirement
Yeah.
because they're going to look you out. They're going to scan your shoulders. They're going to say, and if you have to have a surgery and that's going to take X amount of time to heal from, and then you have to have another one after that, it takes a lot of time to go through that process.
Yeah.
Um, so my recommendation is go to the doctor. You got a concussion from, you're blown up or whatever, or, anything. Always go to the doctor. Make sure you keep a track of it and always keep your medical records because when you go through this process, and honestly, Corey could touch on it a lot better than I can.
Yeah.
It's very tedious. You have to make sure you got your P's and Q's because you don't want to lose money. And the reason I say a medical retirement is because a medical retirement is better than a straight up retirement. A straight
Yeah.
up retirement, you put your packet in, you saying, I'm going to retire September 1st of 2025. That's the date I'm retiring. But then you lose out. Like if I didn't do a medical retirement, I would have to pay for my health insurance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also since the Army deemed me medically disabled to do my job, I got uh I got rated pretty well for when I retired. So my whole entire base pay is tax free.
Oh, nice. Good for you. But you earned it.
Well, I mean, that's 25 years of service,
Yeah.
and it's like I tell people, like, my body's broke.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to go to do this, to maintain your physical fitness level for 25 years, to go do ruck marches and try to keep these 20-year-olds in shape when you're, in your 30s or 40s,
Yeah.
whatever. It takes a lot to do that, and not knocking the newer generation, but like a lot of the newer generation, they don't have the same mentality when they
You're right.
coming out and like, hey, I got to do this. This is my job. Like,
Yeah.
I got to maintain my physical fitness. So like even people entering the military, we had to train some of them sometimes. Like, listen, you got to lose 10 pounds before you join.
Oh,
Like
wow.
those are some things. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I guess it would have been that, yeah, during our time too. But yeah, it's the generations are different, man. I've
it
said it
is.
before. I think for some reason something happened where people are softer. Whatever took over his parents, they made a softer generation, which no knock to them. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, the parenting became softer, the rules and
It,
things became softer.
Well, it's everybody gets a trophy kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
that,
which
that's
is
the stuff
bad.
that happens, And again, I'm not knocking it. It's just a different style parenting. But for like even, I mean, let's be honest. Like my dad's generation, they say, "Oh, we're built different too." Like and like
Yeah,
we're
they were.
obviously the World War II guys aren't saying they're saying the same thing. Like
Yeah,
honestly, that's to me, that's the greatest generation to come out of the United States was World War II guys.
yeah. It's
So.
two things, Dom. I was trying. I was gonna make it. You know how you laugh about the participation thing. I had all my. My mom had them on the table. I had all my ribbons. None of them participation. It was
Mhm.
either first, second, or maybe third. But
Or
a
yeah,
but it's a stack. It was around here somewhere, but it's not on the table anymore.
yeah. My mom, she put them in a big frame. Well, and it's
Oh,
not
nice.
even all of them. It was just some. She put like medals from when I wrestled or pictures, and then she put ribbons and stuff like
Yeah.
that. My mom did the same thing.
Yeah, man. Like I think it's important, as we were saying, like it's important because like because you noticed it from what you said, like with recruits coming in there that needed to either lose weight or don't have that mental, don't have that like I mean, I can understand like some people might just be overweight, but for whatever reason, they didn't lose that weight in college, in high school, which is in college, I was able to eat chicken sandwiches every single day, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Can't do that now, but I was able to eat Chick-fil-A every single day. But whatever it was that you weren't able to, these people have to get ready for what they're going into, which is serious stuff that you guys are going to be doing.
Right.
To a certain extent, you know. But yeah, sorry, Don, that's just a little side thing.
And it's funny, like my former office partner, he had a guy come into the office. I don't know his name, but I remember he said he came in at like, say 320 pounds.
Holy smokes.
Really big. And he goes, what do I have to do to join the military? I need to do this. He told me, he's like, first off, you got to lose 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. He came back 6 months later. He's like, can I help you? Didn't even recognize him. He lost.
I love that.
He lost 100 pounds.
I love
that.
That
Right there was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. He was, that kid, whoever it was determined to change his life.
He had something going on where he needed to change, and he did it. So, and like, we ran into him. He's still like raw, you know what I mean? And that makes me happy, you know. And that was
that's freaking awesome.
It's great.
Yeah, really. And that could be inspiring to other people. Yeah. I mean, if he can do it at that weight, then and to lose all that, whatever was going on in his life, he's like, I got to get out of this.
And on the flip side of that, sometimes you could be too skinny, and they make you gain weight. Yeah, for sure. Like you could be underweight.
Oh, I never thought. I mean,
I had a kid one time. He came up to me. I put him in. He was real scrawny. I saw him. I don't know. It was probably 2 years after like I put him in, and he went to basic training. And I never heard from him again because the unit I put him in, they went to Africa. They were gone to Africa for a year, and then when he came back, I like this guy was looking at me, and I'm like, hey man, do I know you? I didn't recognize him. He was jacked, bro.
Oh, really?
Like, he was swole. I was like, wow. I said, you put on like 60 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Huge. You know, and that's also good because it makes you feel like people actually listen to what you said to do and they did it.
Yeah.
You're like, and honestly, what's better in this world when you could pass down something that you've learned to somebody else? And you know what I mean? What's better than that?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. One thing I just want to say real quick, Dom, I had a family friend was on here earlier. His name was Austin. Love Austin. Great kid. Smart, graduated USC like me. Our families grew up together. When I was in college, he was still a kid. Both of our grandparents were still around because we used to eat dinner at each other's houses. But he was, I was talking to him, and he's he was trying to get into grad school. He didn't give in, and he said that he told himself that if he didn't get in that time, that he was done. So I told Austin like this, Austin, I'm here. God sent me here for a reason to talk to you today because I come from the mentality in my acting business where he said he was stubborn. That was one thing with that. But I said, Austin, I'm the exact opposite where I don't give up. In my business, acting business, it's a very difficult business where if I don't book something on the first time, I will go. I literally say, if I don't book it this time, I'm going to get it the next time or however many times it takes. And I gave him an example of me flying. I flew up to New York from Los Angeles, South Carolina, and Virginia. I flew from all these places for every audition I had for Blue Bloods. On my 9th time, I was done with the show. I'm like, I'm never getting called in again. I'm not coming back in for the show. It costs too much, all this. And I ended up booking on that night time because I was so pissed off when I went in. They're like, oh my God, if you're not a New York cop. Like my frustration showed, and they're like, man, if you're not a New York cop. And what I found out was this later on, because she came on here, Siobhan, she said, Brandon, with our show, booking a New York cop is one of the hardest things to do. It's hard. It's a very hard role to cast because not everybody can play the New York cop. It's the way we talk. It's the way we act. So that gave, I was like, geez. Yeah. So I had it. But so what I was trying to tell him was like, Austin, don't give up. Just because you don't get it on that one time.
Hey, pause real quick, man. Yeah. I just want to say congratulations too, man. You know, you're doing your thing. And me and Corey always talk about it. And we're so proud of you that you broke through and you're doing your thing, man. I just want to say that. I wanted to interrupt you for that because I wanted to say it because you finally broke through and you started getting your stride, and we wish the best for you all the time, man. So we're always here for you. We're in your corner, root for you.
Yeah, I know, bro. I appreciate you guys so much, and I know that, and I can feel it, and it's so important to me, and it's a blessing, like to have you guys that are always rooting for me. Like I can't tell you how many times I was discouraged. And like just hearing from friends being like, yo, B, man, you're doing it or you're going. That's before I even booked anything. But to have that support does mean the work, because that does mean in anything. Yeah. You got to support people. Dom, I support everybody in no matter what they want to do.
Why would I be mad if you're successful? I'm happy.
Yeah, but as you know probably firsthand, Dom, there's people out there that are like that.
Yo, for sure. Well, why did he make sergeant first class and I didn't? You know what I mean? Or why did he get that role and I didn't? You know,
Yeah.
like, who cares, dude? Be happy for your brother. You know what I mean?
And
Be
you know
happy.
what,
Like
Dom?
he did something, he accomplished it, he set his goal. You know, he did a thing. Let him do it. Let him
Yeah.
keep doing it.
It's Dom, you're absolutely right. Like I agree with you on that fully. Like it's why can't you be happy? I get we're all jealous. We'll have jealousy to us, but I found that blessings happen when you actually like. I mean, I'm not like this with my friends or anything, but like if you're, you know what, that person got it, good job. You know what that means? That means I'm going to get it the next time.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
going to come back to me. That means I'm one step
100-fold.
closer.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man. So I'm right there with you on that. But I just wanted to. So I was telling Austin basically, I don't know what it was that got me on that thing. I guess with reaching your goals, because that kid lost the 300 pounds, because the skinny kid gained all that weight. It's then making a decision within yourself to not give up and to get done and do what has to be done. Which is why I was kind of relating the Austin thing, where I was telling him like, hey man, just because you didn't get there this time, maybe God didn't have that for you right now, but down the road, don't let that change your outlet. But
absolutely, you gotta have that fortitude and that persistence. You got to and that's the other thing I learned. Nothing in this world is free or given to you. You have to work for it. You have to work for it, you know, and it takes a lot of work. Like, you know, dude, when I was in working 60 hours, getting a bachelor's degree, going to do this, you know, spending some time with my family, that's draining. And I did that for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like, well, not almost 2011, because I had my associate's degree already. From 2011 to 2018, like that's how long I took to get my bachelor's degree. And I had my associates already.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too,
I mean?
Dom. Just I'm proud of you too. If no one's told you, man.
Oh yeah, people have told me, and I appreciate that. I really do. You know, a lot of people told me that, and to me, it's just like that's persistence. And you know what? You know what made me want to do it even more? I had a statistics teacher at USC, and he was like, I guess they call them guest professors or whatever.
Okay, like adjunct or something like that.
Yeah, he wasn't there a permanent. He taught somewhere out, like Wesleyan or something like that.
Okay.
And he was like, he's like, do you know what the statistics are for you to graduate? I said 100%. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I said, I don't even want to hear what you got to say. He's like,
yeah.
all right, it's tough. I'm just going to tell you what you're doing is tough. And I said, I've been doing it already for 4 years. I said, I'm not stopping now.
Amen.
Yeah, like
we're gonna give you a high five,
bam.
bro.
You know what I mean? Don't give me that negativity. I don't need that in my life.
Dominic, you don't. I love that 100. Dominic, I knew there was a reason I gravitated towards you, man. I absolutely love that because so many people will try to put you in a box or put people in a box all the time.
Yeah.
Just because you believe I can't do something, I'm gonna do it for myself because I know. But two, who are you to put judgment on me because you don't know me? He never walked a day in your shoes, Dominic.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what's funny? He had a student. This is a funny story. He had a student in class, right? And I guess he failed the test or something. And I was in there. I was in this class, and he was acting like all out of hand, like I got a 20. What are you doing? Like, he was mad. The kid was mad. So he kicked him out of the class. And he comes over to me. He's like, do you mind walking me to my car? I was like, what? What? Did you not insult me like 3 months ago? Now you want me to walk you to your car? Like, what? You're a grown man. Granted, he was a little old, and I felt bad, and I was like, well, you know, so I did. I walked him to the garage because you know what? I took the bigger stance on that one.
You did.
Yeah.
That is too. Oh my gosh, Dom. That is.
Is that not funny?
Yeah.
But he was worried he was going to get his rear end beat, and like.
Yeah. But that goes to another thing I always say. Like, I treat this. I've said this before, but I treat the janitor with the same level. I treat the CEO, same level of respect.
Got to.
You can't disrespect people because you don't know what they're going on. And I'm glad that it's funny because that guy was totally demasculated. The fact that you said something to that kid because you were worried that he was going to throw your hands with you because you shouldn't talk to people any kind of way unless they deserve it. And that's one thing, but you put yourself
talk to him in any kind of way, but it was the kid really being out of line, and he was just trying to like that's what you scored. I can't help you if you're that upset. You got to leave the class or whatever the circumstance. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just sitting there doing my work from my last class. You know what I mean? So I thought it was
Dude,
funny.
no, that's hilarious. That's why I'm dying over here laughing about that, man.
Yeah, it was funny.
But Dom, I want to make sure that that was
But
great, man. That's
yeah,
dude. We're gonna have some great.
I still want to touch base about the retirement
Yeah.
process
Let's go back to that, Dom.
because yeah, we've been telling little stories here and there,
Yeah, you're
but
good. You're good.
so do the medical retirement over the regular retirement unless you really just want to pick your date and lose out on money. That's what I
Yeah.
tell people. You know, you lose out on money, you lose out on chances or opportunities, and like with getting the disability rating I got and everything like that, it opened up more stuff for me. Like I don't pay property taxes on my house. I don't pay property taxes on my car.
Oh
Like,
wow.
you know, and every state is different as well. So I like I think South Carolina's two cars. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't know. I don't know what they are, but in some states participate in it, some don't.
Yeah.
Um, but it also which I've this is where the VA kind of like rubs me wrong a little bit. Like they have what's called the vocational rehabilitation education.
Okay.
So I'm disabled. I have certain limiting factors that won't allow me to get a job. So they want to make sure I'm trained. So they
Yeah.
allow you to, like if I was physically able, like if I wanted to be a mechanic, I would go become a mechanic. Or if I wanted to do if so now I like since I want to do maybe more desk work or maybe remote work or start my own business, they give you those opportunities to do it. That's what the whole purpose of the VRE.
Okay.
I applied for the program in April of last year. I'm still like that. They're really I don't know. They're just I'm still waiting to get approved for it 100% before I can apply to the college that I want to go to get my
Oh
MBA.
jeez.
And that's where, like, I'm glad you brought up that persistence thing because, like, I'm still at it. I'm still emailing this lady
Yeah.
once or twice every other week. Like, what's going on? Like, is this what I got to do? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? And like, sometimes they don't respond. Hey, just responding again to this email. Like, you have to
Yeah.
be on these because they don't care. It's not their
No.
education. It's not their
Nope.
future. So, and to me, that's free money that I'm letting
Yeah.
sit on the table to get an education. Like that education is worth more to me than anything, and that's something I want to
Absolutely.
do because it's a
Yeah.
personal goal of mine, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I've earned that benefit to get that, so why not? Like, why are they hindering that? Is my problem. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let me go
Well, while they're
forward.
still in the pot, you know what?
They,
There's certain people, and I'll say this: there are certain people that need to not have those positions, and that's in all walks of life.
agreed.
Because there's certain people that I'm always about customer service and stuff like that. Because I
Yeah.
have worked, I've worked 9 to 5. I've worked every job underneath the
Right.
sun. Trust me. But
Right.
if you see that you're dealing with veterans, you know, or maybe they need to hire veterans to be in that position to understand that process and know what that's like, or someone that cares. Because when you have,
Yeah.
there's so many people in government in all kinds of positions that should. It's in all walks of life. Let me just put
Yeah.
that. They
It
shouldn't
really
be where
is,
they're
to
at.
be honest with you. Yeah, you can't single it out just to the VA or to
Yeah.
wherever. I mean, run
It's
across it in every
everywhere.
aspect in any employment. People just don't care. They're
Yeah,
there to get their paycheck and go home.
and it's sad. It's
Yeah.
sad. Like I can understand if now the job, crap. I can understand that, but like the VA, I feel like that's a special place because you have these people that have served our country, like
Yeah.
yourself, that should be getting the help they need instead of things. Every person I've heard that's a veteran has always told me how things just take a long time.
Yeah, not waiting 15 months to get that
That's
benefit.
wild. But yeah,
Yeah,
but at least you're persistent because yeah, you're right. That's
yeah,
money on the table that's going
yeah,
to ultimately help you get to where you want to be. But it is
exactly.
holding up where you want to be at that time. But then I'm going to throw this
Right,
thing in here. I said it
right.
earlier. You heard me mention it with Austin. Sometimes God is holding you up for a reason.
And that exact everything happens for a reason, you know. And
Yeah,
I realized that a long time ago. So, you know, and a lot of veterans when they get out and retire, they have a plan. They already have jobs lined up as a safety officer, or they're going to be at a range if you're close to a military facility, or you're going to be a ROTC instructor or a junior ROTC instructor at a high
yeah,
school. You know, some people have those things lined up, but like there's people out there like me, like I don't know what I want to do. So like
yeah,
that's why I wanted to kind of go to school and get that education. And like great for those soldiers that when they retire, they're like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be
yeah,
that. You know, and but then there's people like me, like, well, what can I do that's not gonna, be within my limitations, like where I
yeah,
could, maybe work from home or start a business. I could work by myself, or I could hire people to do a job.
yeah,
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And like ultimately, that's why I said I wanted to be a yoga instructor. That's what helped like really center me. And
Yeah.
I feel like once I get that thing rolling, like once I still want to get my MBA. That's hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once I get sell this house and I get situated and I got my piece where I need it to be,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to go ahead and jump into that instructor training, and I'm going to do that. And then eventually I want to go to India. So like follow your
Oh
dreams,
wow.
man. Go after them. That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dom, two things here.
there's an
One,
instructor course.
sorry.
There's an instructor course for the yoga that I'm talking about, and I love this institute. They have more than yoga there. The Art of Living Institute in Boone, North Carolina. They're
Okay.
internationally known, but they have a 260-hour instructor course. I want to do that for basic instructor. Then
Oh, nice.
they have an advanced training course in India, and it's a whole month long. So
Oh, hell yeah, man.
I
You
plan
live
on doing that.
you live one life, Dom. One, I like Boone because we stayed in a cabin in Boone. I like Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, it's awesome. It's an awesome area. It's beautiful up there too, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful country. Lots of rolling mountains. And
Yeah.
it's like an hour away from where I live here in Virginia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Boone's
maybe
only
an
an hour from you?
hour, 45 minutes. Tops. Yeah,
Dude,
hour,
that's crazy
45
because
minutes.
I get a, what part of Virginia? You're saying you're in Chesapeake? You're not in Chesapeake, right?
No, that's like Northern Virginia. So I am Southwest Virginia. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I am.
I don't know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'm to the Tennessee where Bristol is. I'm 105 miles from there. I'm an hour from West Virginia. I'm close to North Carolina. I'm like right here by it all. It's
Oh
good.
yeah, you are because it
Yeah.
only takes for us to get the Boone. It only takes us, I think, 2.5, 3 hours from here, if
Yeah.
that.
Honestly, to Columbia, South Carolina, it's 4.5 hour ride, door to
Oh,
door.
okay, yeah. So you are a lot closer. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
absolutely.
not far at all.
Well,
So
Dom, you're following your dream. You already have your head on straight, but I think that everything's God's time, as I said. But everything's working out like how I believe you want it to. Also, I did want to say, dude, that's a nice ass house. Like
you
I'm
said
seeing,
that.
yeah, I saw the other part. Like you showed me the other part. Now I'm seeing this. I'm like, dang, dude,
Yeah, this is my kitchen. Yeah.
bro, that is a beautiful home,
Yeah. So
man.
just sitting here chilling right now. I'm
Yeah.
getting ready to go out on the water and relax a little bit.
Oh yeah, you're good, Dom. Well, yeah, I just wanted to, yeah. Well, you're always welcome back on. You go out of town next week, right?
Yeah, I'm actually going to Italy for 15 days.
What part of Italy?
It's the back end of Italy and the bottom part, the heel. It's called Puglia.
Okay, man. Well, make
Or
sure
if
you
you want
send
to say it in
us.
Italian, Apulia.
Nice, man. Well, look, dude, send me pictures and stuff like that. But I'll let you get to the beach, man. I want to make sure you touched on everything today, though. And we'll have you
Yeah,
on.
that's literally what I wanted to hit on, man. And next time we could dive into maybe deployments or something like that. If I'm ready for that emotionally.
Yeah, it's we've had several people on here, including a yoga teacher. I was talking to her about how real men cry about stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, Dom, we'll take it whenever. As I said, it's on your timing, man. You know.
absolutely.
Yeah, brother. Well, look,
I
man,
get it.
I appreciate you being here today. Sydney Fox is the one that she's a yoga instructor too. I'm not sure if you saw hers. She is 2 episodes before this one.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, she talks all about her yoga stuff. Dude, it was actually a spiritual conversation. I think you'll like it.
All right, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I mean, you've been pumping these podcasts out like crazy. I can't keep up with them.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's so that when you're driving or doing whatever, you can just listen to it.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. And then Dom, thank you so much for coming on. Also, I want to say thank you to your people, man. Your people who came on here and supported you. As I said, I think it was 40 downloads. I told you yesterday, and I'm able to literally see on the map where these are all popping up at. I'm like, who the heck is here? Like, I saw Pennsylvania. I'm like, that's Scranton. I think I saw. I'm like, that's Dom's people. But I'm able to see all these different wherever someone downloads is at. I'm able to see exactly where they download it down to the city.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
I
That's pretty
appreciate
neat.
your people, how they've shown up for you, man. That speaks to the person you are, and that speaks to how much they support you and want to hear your story altogether as well. So
I
that means a
appreciate
lot to
that,
me,
man.
man.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll
Absolutely.
get some more on this one. I'm gonna send it to more people this time. So
Hey, we're good, man. As long as we impact one person's life, that's all that matters.
that's my goal, man. Impact somebody's life while you're here. You got to do something positive.
Amen, brother. Well, look, Dom, enjoy that lake or water or whatever you're gonna do today. And thank you so much for coming on, man. I always love talking to you, bro.
All right, brother. You be good.
And then send me what picture you want for this one too, bro.
All right.
Okay, all right. Peace, Dom.
All right. Bye.
See, let's stop this real quick.